Hi everybody, I'm Miss Rachel. Welcome to Cap at Home, and today I'm going to show you how to make these articulated puppets. So I'm going to show you what you need, how to draw a template, and then how to put it all together so that the limbs on these puppets can actually move. So let's start with our materials. The first thing you're going to need is paper. It can be regular plain computer paper, but for these examples I have used cardstock, which is a little heavier and will make sure that your puppet can last a little bit longer because it's a little more durable. But if you just have computer paper, that will work fine. You will also need some markers or something to color with. You will need scissors, you might need some paper clips, you may not. It has helped me several times with several different parts of this, but having one nearby is really helpful. You'll also need these, which are called paper fasteners or brads. I found them at the Dollar Tree. You can also find them at places like Office Depot or something like that in the office supply section. You will need a little bit of tape and some string. These things are also optional because on some of them you might want to add some string to the top to just help you kind of move the puppet around. So having these is optional. If you don't have these, you will be able to complete the actual project without them. And finally, you will need a pencil so that you can draw the shape of your puppet. So I'm going to slide these things to the side and show you what a body template looks like. So this is my template for just a basic puppet. This one is a bunny rabbit and his head is attached. So this whole thing is one piece. But if you want the limbs to move, so if I wanted the head to move, I would need to actually cut this so that I could add one of these paper fasteners here and the head could move. So that's why I have this head separate from the torso. For the torso, or the middle part of the body where the stomach is, I just drew a very simple rectangle, just keeping it really simple. So if you are not that great at drawing, you can still do this. You don't have to be great at drawing. You can just draw this rectangle shape for the torso. But if you're an excellent artist, then go ahead and jazz it up and do something a little different. I also have 2 arms here, 2 legs, and then mine is going to be a cat, so I have 2 ears. So if this is what you want to do, go ahead and copy this. But if you have another idea, like you want to make something interesting like a turtle, like this one, or a duck, or something even more interesting, I've made octopus, flowers, all kinds of things. You may need a reference image so that you can break your animal down into simple parts so that you can create the pieces that you need to put it together. So if you're doing something that is not kind of a anthropomorphized or like human-like shape, you may need to look at a picture on the internet to get a reference, but take your time, draw it out a couple of times, plan it. For this one, I have this big piece, the shell is one piece, and then these tiny legs are pretty much like this, except they're rounded at the end instead of straight. And then the head, I'll show you the back here. The head is this piece here. It has a tab on it. And then it's kind of just this weird circle with a line attached. So play with a couple different things. And then this is similar to this shape here. It's a little more curved and it comes to a point. And that's the tail. So you can play with a bunch of different shapes to put them together. Or you can put something together that's not an animal and it's something you completely made up. Maybe like one of the monsters that Miss Allie showed you in her video just a few minutes ago. So this is what you should start with. Once you get done drawing that, you will want to color it. And I like to color while this is all attached and it's all on one piece of paper. That way I can kind of color outside the lines, and then when I cut, I don't have a gap between where I cut and where I drew. It looks like a really smooth finish. So now we're going to cut all of these pieces out. And since we're cutting things out and I'm going to have paper left over, I'm going to throw that away as I go because I don't want a huge mess when I'm done. So as I create scraps, I have a little trash can off to the side, and I'm going to go ahead and put my trash in that trash can right now. So this going in the trash can. So make sure you're doing that as you're working, because it just makes it more fun to do art, in my opinion, because you don't have a big old extra project, a cleanup project at the end. So I'm just cutting my shapes out along the lines that I drew. And make sure you are moving your paper and your scissors so that it's comfortable for you to draw, because you'll get the shape that you're trying to cut if you're comfortable. If you're doing any cutting and you feel awkward, that probably means you should adjust how you're cutting. Adjust your hands, adjust the paper, adjust the scissors. Alrighty. So as I cut out all of these limbs, I'm going to throw my scraps in the trash. So all of this is trash. This little piece. I have a head, but it has no face. I'll add that on there a little bit later. And I'll show you why I saved that to the end. So as I'm cutting my circle, I'm turning my paper and keeping my scissors in place. This makes it easy for me to cut my circle. I've seen a lot of people kind of struggle with that, so this is one way you can do it without struggling. Now I'm almost done. Got my ears. Cut them out of my big paper so it's easier for me to cut. Got my legs. And I'm going to put this in the trash or my recycle bin because I don't need it anymore. And finally, my ears. Alrighty, so now we're done cutting all of that out. Now just make sure you have all of your pieces and you didn't throw any away on accident. So I have my ears, head, torso. These are the legs. And these are the arms. And they can go whatever way you want because it's your design. So for the head, I didn't draw the face on there yet because when we put these pieces together, they will overlap, and I have to decide if I want this to go behind my torso up or above it. I think on top looks better, and then I also have to have a space for my brad to go into. Where is it? This. So this will take up a little space, and if I were to already have filled in my face, I might have put my mouth down here, and then this little thing might be in the way. So I'm going to take my pencil and just make a mark where I want my brad to go, and that way I can draw in the face so that it's not going to be messed up by the pieces that I have to use to connect everything. So I will go ahead and draw a very simple face, and because I drew everything in green, I will keep drawing stuff in green, and I will add some eyes, big old eyes. And a nose, and an off-centered mouth. And then I'll just draw some more of my little stripey hairs all over the place, because that's just how I feel today. So I'm going to draw some up here, even though I know they're going to be covered up by the ears, but that's okay. I just wanted to make sure my face didn't get messed up by the other parts. So make sure you take your time and draw something that you're happy with. You can even plan your design out before you start cutting and all of that, and just come up with a great character idea for your puppet. Okay, so this puppet looks a little crazy, but I like it. Alrighty, so I still see my pencil mark, and I want that there because I need that to help me remember where to put my little brads. So I'm going to continue to use my pencil to mark where I'm going to make holes for my paper fasteners. So I made a mark right here on the arm because it's going to connect to the piece under it right there. So I'm going to make another mark there, and all of these little marks I'm going to switch to a marker so that you guys can see it more clearly. Yep, that's more clear. But if you want to go ahead and use a pencil, that's fine. I'm using this red marker so that you can see it. And then I'm going to make a mark there. So I'm making a mark on both pieces so I know exactly where to cut so that I can put my paper fastener into both pieces of paper to keep them together. So here, my legs are I'm going to make sure that I'm not making marks super close to the edge like that, because then my paper will rip and my puppet will come apart. So I'm going to make sure that I'm making a mark that is away from the edge and that will securely hold my paper together. So I'll do the same thing with the ears, make a mark away from the edge, and then one on the head that is away from the edge so I can connect those. Let's see. So now I have all of my red marks. This is where your paper clip will come into place. If you have a bunch of these, you can kind of clip it in place and test it out to see if you like what you have going on here, because the paper clip is going to allow you to still move your paper. So you can clip them in place, see if you like where they are. You might decide that that's too high and you want to move it down a little bit. So play with it, plan it out, think about what you're doing. And once you get done with that part, you can also use this paper clip to punch holes. So I'm going to unfold this and use this point to punch holes in my paper. So you want to do this very carefully. Make sure you're not stabbing yourself. And so now I have a tiny little hole, kind of like a pilot hole. It's going to get my brad in there just a little bit. It's not too big, because if it's too big, then my brad won't fit snugly. But it's just enough so that I can push this through and then spread these out. So I'm going to do that to all of my little red marks. I'm going to push this paper clip through. If you have a tack or something like that, that will also work. Or even a ballpoint pen, or if your pencil is sharp enough, you can do it with that. But just be careful and make sure that you are not just stabbing it through and ripping your paper, because then you will mess up your puppet and you'll need to remake whatever piece you just messed up. So I'm going to grab my tack for this one. So I have a tack here, or a push pin. And you want to make sure you're not pushing anything into your fingers so that you don't hurt yourself. So just be aware of what you're doing. That's a major part of safety, being aware of what you are doing. So once you have all of your holes punched, then you will start to put your puppet together. And the thing I like about this is, if you wanted to, you could create different poses for this. So what I mean by that is, once you have everything here, so if you wanted to change just a little piece of your puppet, like if you didn't want your puppet to have straight arms, you could make bent arms. You could just redraw some arms, a whole nother set, and make them bent like this. And then you could cut that out, decorate it, and add it to your puppet, so that you could switch this up without creating a whole new piece each time. So I think that's pretty cool. So that's something to think about. You could even make it so that your puppet can have different clothes. You could draw this a couple times and then give them different clothes. So make sure you're really planning out what you're doing. Oh, I forgot to make a dot right here to attach the head to the body. There we go. So I'm going to use my push pin. And I have this mat that protects my table, so I can go ahead and push this in. But if you don't have anything protecting your work area, then kind of do it in your hand so that you're not scratching up your tables. Oh no, what happened to the lights? The lights just went off. 1 minute. Sometimes you just gotta run around and have the lights turn on. Alrighty. So now I'm going to start to attach my pieces. I'm going to push my brad into the top piece first. I'm going to put the legs on top of the torso. So I'm going to push this in here and then attach it to the body. Okay. So I'm going to continue that for all of my limbs and make sure I have enough brads for each one. So if you follow us on Facebook or Instagram and you saw the post where I listed the supplies, you'll notice that I didn't have a specific number of brads, and that's because it depends on your design. So if you designed a puppet that's like an octopus, and that octopus has 8 legs, then you may need more brads than I do, because my puppet only has, 4 limbs, and then a head and some ears. So it's up to you to determine how many different brads you need. So that's a part of your planning and your design work. Okay, so I'm going to add this here. And I'm not going to open them up yet. I'm going to leave them closed so that once I get this together, I can see if I really like it. And if I don't, I can make some adjustments. But I think I'm going to like this. I think it's going to be fine. There we go. Uh-oh, his leg fell off. All right. So as we are wrapping this project up, I just want to remind everybody to make sure that you are following us on Facebook, Instagram, and even on YouTube so you can see our library of tutorials and you can participate Tuesdays and Thursdays when we release new videos. So, and you can even go back and participate in things that you may have missed or things you just want to do again. And if you are doing this with me, then make sure you leave us a comment. Reflect with us. What did you like about this project? What was a little challenging? Was it not challenging enough? Oh, there we go. And make sure you leave a picture of what you came up with because I would love to see your designs. Inspire me a little bit. Okay, so this is kind of weird and I'm not loving that the ear is in front. So I'm just going to put the ear in the back. So I'm going to put the brad through the head in front and then put the ears in the back. I like that a lot better. Flip this over, open that up. All right. And voila, now you have a puppet with movable limbs. So my ears can move because I have a connection there with those brads. My arms can move, the head can move, and the legs can move. So, and if you wanted, if you made a cat like I did, you could even add a tail. I don't know how I forgot that, but you can add a tail. And let me show you the piece with the string. So if you have your string and your tape, this is not a, you don't need to do this step in order to complete your puppet because this is complete. But one thing that might help is having just a small piece of string, looping it around, and then taping this string to the head. And that way, when you're using your puppet, you can hold it by the string and adjust the limbs as you need to. Alrighty, and you can hang it up. This is a way to store it so that you can display it too. You can hang it up on your wall. Alright, so thanks so much for joining me. I'm Miss Rachel and today we made articulated puppets. Hopefully you make a whole zoo of animals. We would love to see them. Make sure you drop us a comment in the comment section with pictures and questions if you have them because we are here to help. So thank you so much for watching Cap at Home today. Have a great day. Bye.